Everybody, we're doing a podcast. That's right. It's a live podcast. We've done this a couple of times, but this time we will not be building something. We will be podcasting from Podastery Studios in Minecraft because I built it. You haven't seen it yet, actually, now that I think about it. Belle's here, by the way, somewhere.
I'm now writing the mini
The
block
tram.
long
Yeah.
tram.
Yeah,
I'm
I need to build out the station. That should probably be my next priority in my base because then whenever you get here, there's just like, it's like the worst thing.
It's just an undeveloped slum area.
Yeah, it's TBD is what it is. It's TBD.
Oh, there you go.
TBD station. You know what? That's actually, even after I build it, that's what I'm going to call it, is the TBD station.
Hey, that works.
Yeah, I think it works great.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, they do. Okay, well. Yeah, it would be very interesting when I arrive to see me arriving in this fashion. You would expect something different.
Oh,
I'll just say that much.
Are you Gandalf again? Because that is what I'm expecting now, is for you to be Gandalf.
No. I have not come back to you at the turn of the tide.
Somebody else did that recently. Oh, I think I haven't read it yet on a video, but Dr. Alien is saying if we can help him reestablish himself, then he'll come back to us at the turn of the tide. Oh, look at you! Look at you! You're the Flash.
I am. And the Flash takes public transport.
Yeah, no, and you're late, by the way.
I am late.
This is great.
It
My
tracks.
gosh. Yeah. Oh man. Is this your first time being at my base? Actually.
No. I've been here a couple times. You've done a lot since the last time I've been here. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's all been updated. Tell you what, if right when we get done recording, I'll give you, or once we get done with the podcast, I'll give you a tour for the for the YouTube.
All right. Well, hey, the Flash doesn't normally wear a cape, but this Elytra I think is it's working.
It's pretty stellar, man. Yeah, you're making it your own.
And plus with the I have the pumpkin mod thing, so it doesn't make the face, and that changes the way enchants look.
Oh, interesting. I don't know about this.
So it's a little texture pack you can install that makes the pumpkin face go away. Like when you wear a pumpkin head, you're in the end or whatever.
Right.
It doesn't give that pumpkin thing, which gives me a terrible headache.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's cheating, but I'd rather just not have a headache when I'm trying to play games.
Right.
But also, what it does is it makes the enchanting glow red instead of blue.
Oh, very cool.
So it very much matches this Flash skin that I have.
All right, so I'll show you this backside first, right? So I made a mural for the city.
Oh, nice. New York town. I like it.
Yeah.
I like your gradient over here on the corner.
Thank you. Yeah, this is so I don't know, you went to, I think, Podastery Studios at least once in Jackson.
Yes.
So the idea is that this is inspired off of the building that we used to have in Jackson. Although we didn't have a side to the building, but there was a side to the buildings, and it was like this where it was painted white on the front, and then it transitioned into just the regular bricks. So I was trying to go for that feel of like painted white bricks to just basic bricks. And
I think it works.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, and then over here, the front face. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's been a while. It's been several years, but I mean, I feel like I nailed it on the front face of the building.
It looks very similar, yeah. And granted, it's been a lot longer since I've been there, but like, yeah, I remember these two big picture windows.
Yep. We used to have a big logo on one of these windows too.
Oh yeah.
For the longest time, there was like a giant Podastery Studios logo here. It was a big deal. And then we had but the funny thing was, even though we had the logo, our offices was on the second floor at that point. And then when we moved to the back of the building, and then somebody bought this front unit, they put us up on the little sign up here, which is fine. It's fine. I mean, I missed the giant logo right here, but it's fine. I was glad to have it when we had it, so it worked out okay.
Yeah.
All right, so but today Podastery Studios will be the front, and so we'll just be chilling in here for the podcast.
Oh, hey, so it's it's unfinished.
Well, I mean, like, I haven't really done a lot of interiors, but I'm going to be using this build. Well, wait, before you go back there, do you want to take a guess on what I'm using this building for?
Store villagers, maybe. I don't know. You do a lot of villager stuff. Storage.
No.
Oh, aging copper.
Aging copper. Yes.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. It's not finished out yet, but that is, yep. That's what it's going to be.
Well, there you go.
Yep. All right. Let me go over here, and we will get ourselves ready to do some podcasting. You're recording still on your end. I'm recording still on my end. We're good to do this.
Let me make sure. Yes, I am recording on my end.
Got the show notes, all that good stuff up.
Well, I have Minecraft up, so I'll be motionless for a while.
That's okay. We'll both kind of be motionless, all things considered. This will reduce on the clicking and whatnot.
That's true. Was it bad last time?
It wasn't terrible. I was able to clean it up a bit, but we made it work.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to remove this armor just so if I'm going to be standing here, I'm going to be standing here full flash mode.
I like it. All
right, here we go. Last couple clicks as I pull up the notes of the show. Here we go. And we're live.
Welcome to Flash TV Talk, the fan podcast dedicated to news, reviews, and more for the hit CW show, The Flash. I'm Bo.
Bell.
Bell! What's up, man? Ding, ding,
sorry.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, I'm alive. Excuse me.
You're fighting off a little something though, right?
I am. That's one of the reasons, one of the myriad of reasons why we're recording at our not normal time. In addition to the show changing its normal time.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can peg most of this on the show, man. Like this was, yes, you're under the weather. To be honest, man, I'm right there with you. I'm kind of fighting off something a little bit as well. But regardless, I do think that the new release schedule of the show has kind of thrown us off on a weekly, and so we're still trying to figure out what works best. And hopefully we'll let you know, because one of the things we want to do this season is do a little bit of live streaming. In fact, this episode is being streamed live right now on the TV Talk YouTube channel. That's on YouTube. You can find it there. There's links available at tvtalk.fm. I know a lot of you have written in and asked, when do we do it live? You want to be here. You want to schedule it. We would love to schedule it too, but unfortunately right now we're still kind of adjusting it on our end. So stick with us. Stay tuned. We're going to get this hopefully a little bit more uniform. But in the meantime, just follow our YouTube channel and then click the little subscribe bell thing. I don't know. What are all the YouTube buttons you're supposed to press to be notified once we go live?
You got to smash that like button.
Smash it.
And then don't forget to subscribe and click the bell.
Yeah.
Ring that bell.
Ring that bell.
Were.
Oh, wait. This was it's built into the show. I don't see why we should have done this a long time ago. But regardless, check that out, and you can join us there. All right, man, we've got a big episode to dive into. This is the second part of what has been the interlude for this season of The Flash. We'll talk a little bit more about that and what that means. But man, are you ready to do it?
Let's jump into the. Oh wait, sorry, I took your line.
No, that's great. I was here for it. You did great.
All right, well, let's jump into the rundown.
Episode 7 of Season 8, Lockdown, directed by Stephen Plazinski and story by
Stefan Plazinski.
Directed by Stefan Plazinski and story by
Christina M. Walker.
Bell, what happened this episode?
Well, Kramer is frustrated by how the Flash drops off criminals without context. Joe suggests that Kramer have a line to the Flash, but Barry is hesitant. That night, Goldface leads a gas attack on CCPD in search of bullets that can remove metahuman abilities, knocking out Barry and Kramer. They awaken with explosive meta-dampening cuffs, though Kramer's mimic abilities are able to short-circuit them. Despite her inability to control her powers, Barry inspires her to stall Goldface while he defeats his crew as the Flash. Later, Barry reveals his identity to her, though she had already deduced it, and agrees to train and communicate with her. Meanwhile, Caitlin and her date Marcus are interrupted by Frost and Mark. Caitlin angrily expresses her distrust for Mark, though Mark later helps her realize that she was afraid to commit to Marcus and instead focused on her hatred. Caitlin then later apologizes to Frost and Mark. And meanwhile, objects in Joe's house begin disappearing before Iris. She seemingly loses time and her eyes flash green.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, man. This is a return to form this week. And actually, you could argue it's been quite some time since we've had a traditional episode of The Flash, given that the first 5 episodes of the season was that whole mini-series of epic proportion, the fact that last week we were dealing more with the kids than our kind of primary cast of characters, and then just the general kind of lack of time, or not the lack of time, the extremely a large amount of time between episodes that we've experienced since the pandemic began. Man, this feels like a comfortable pair of those house shoes that you've been all over, you've been looking for places, maybe you've been on an adventure, whatever it may be, but you slip on those comfortable pair of house shoes and you're back home. At least that's the feeling I got. What about you, man?
Yeah, it was interesting, right? Because like you said, there's been so many different sort of avenues and whatnot that the show has gone down for this season, and it was they were all welcome, mind you. You know, like Armageddon was wonderful.
Right. Yes.
And you know, getting to see the twins last episode was also really great. But like it was interesting because in more than one way that this felt like you know, a regular Flash episode. We got to see more of Papa Joe. Like where has he been in a very long time? So that was kind of nice. You know, we got to see some Caitlin, we got to see some Chester, Allegra, we got to see the whole team in at least some capacity. And so yeah, it was nice to kind of be back in the swing of things.
Yeah. Plus, of course, we've got Barry Allen running the show here. Man, there's a lot that I really enjoyed about this episode, and there was some decisions, I think creative decisions, that really disappointed me. But for the most part, starting out, you know, I was pretty hyped. For one thing, we got a return of the king of cringe himself, Goldface.
King of cringe? What are you talking about? Goldface is the best.
No, he is like almost every single line is ultra cringeworthy. I don't know if it's just the actors, the delivery of it, or what, but there's just something about like everything he says is so cringy, man.
I loved it. It was just camp on camp on camp, and I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved every minute of Goldface.
I'm not opposed. This is very true. And I think we learned. Did we get a confirmation that they're seeing the Goldface and Black Amulet or whatever her name was? Are they seeing the same?
Yes.
Therapist?
The therapist is back.
She's back, man. She's back.
They've been
and
listening.
She's a therapist to the supervillains. That is a show. CW's been like trying to spin off all these shows. Where's the therapist show? That's the show I want to see.
I know, right? Like that is, I mean, if that wasn't a backdoor pilot to, you know, the therapist show, then I don't know what is.
I tell you what would be amazing. All right. So, you know, you and I kind of kicked around different ideas for different podcasts from time to time and all that kind of good stuff. What would be incredible is like therapy sessions with supervillains.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't that be insane? Like that would actually be a pretty epic CW little podcast that they could run with her and some of these like side villains and everything else. That's like a tie-in podcast for the CW Seed app or something of that nature, if that thing is even still around. Like that would be incredible.
Yeah, I think that'd be amazing. It's yeah. I don't know why they don't go with that. I mean, it seems like everybody is that's his therapist now, and it's funny that we always mention that. And I know someone's listening. They're out there.
Somebody is, man. We got some good stuff this episode for sure. You know, so I like the fact Goldface is back. I like the fact that we're talking like super campy super villains. We also got that weird dude that was robbing the coffee shop. Wasn't he the weird dude that was robbing the bank from the episode prior?
The jewelry store. Yeah.
Yeah. Are we getting like a reoccurring kind of dumb villain situation? Like who's those two dudes from Power Rangers, the really dumb guys?
Oh my gosh. If you hadn't said, I have their faces. There's, it's like Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yes. There's like a Bebop and Rocksteady type of thing. But what were those guys' names?
Bulk and Skull. There
Bulk and Skull. All right, so are we getting like our Bebop and Rocksteady, our Bulk and Skull for the Flash?
Well, I mean, we need one more, right? You can't have a Bulk without a Skull, just like you can't have a Bebop without a Rocksteady. Right now, we have one or the other, but not both.
I'm telling you, man. I think there might be something here. That would be that would be great, just to have like this one dude who the Flash keeps like putting away, and somehow he keeps on getting out because he's like so inept that they're like, this guy's not a threat. Like even if he goes out on the street with like all the weapons, he's just not a threat.
Yeah. Well, what's also funny is that you know, speaking of Power Ranger, not references, but like, you know, illusions there. The
Illusions, Michael. Yes, Power
no,
Rangers.
illusions.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yes.
Yeah, not illusions. But the Godspeed clones are kind of like putties, except for they're a little bit more dangerous.
They were a lot like putties. That's pretty apt. I could definitely see that.
Except for the real main difference here is that the main big bad of the episode doesn't get beaten by the Flash and then grows bigger, and then the Flash has to form Voltron or the Megazord with all of the Team Flash, which would be awesome.
Actually, you know what? That would be incredible. Yeah.
Wow. Yes, they need to do a Power Rangers style Flash episode where each of them has Zords. That would be amazing.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So admittedly, this started as a bit, but I'm actually kind of loving this idea. Maybe not Zords, I am too. But we've talked about the fact that you've got the the Kingdom Come version of the Flash, which is a merger of all the Flashes of all time. And so how incredible would it be if for the final big bad, you brought in all of the Flashes, even the ones that died in the Crisis, get Jesse back or something like that. And have them all Barry, they all merge into Barry, becoming kind of this red blur, and just goes just toe to toe with, I don't know, Eobard, Techno Eobard or Mecha Eobard or whatever.
Yeah, Eobard's horribly disfigured, and his he has to have these metal braces over his exposed musculature, and he looks just like Zed.
Actually, okay, sorry, we're getting way off here, but no.
Yeah, we really are.
Hear me out. Okay, Eobard does not have his speed right now, right?
Yes.
Right. So he does not have his speed. It got taken away from him. He's locked up in Iron Heights, but he's still in the timeline. What if, Bell, he has this whole plot where he captures all of the speed villains from previous seasons and he sacrifices them in some way to harvest their speed, and he becomes the ultimate reverse Flash types, the negative Flash or the reverse zoom, the moose, I don't know, whatever it is.
And then the lightning bolt that's summoned by that, when he does that, hits the moon and awakens Rita Repulsa.
No, I'm being serious. You keep on taking it back to Power Rangers, but I think there's actually some good ideas in here. Oh, man.
I just want to see the Flash fight putties and Bulk and Skull.
As you pointed out, he kind of did last season.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, let's bring it back to this episode because this is less high concept. Goldface is coming in. He's trying to get these meta bullets from the CCPD. Let me talk about one of the things that I thought was a really great concept early on that I feel they really dropped the ball with, which is reestablishing Kramer, or reestablishing the dynamic between the Flash and the CCPD through Kramer and Barry. This notion that they want to work with the Flash, that Kramer, she's not all anti-meta as she was before or anything like that. She's just a good, a good cop is what they kept on referring to her as. And she's coming in wanting to work with the Flash and pointing out the tension that exists there because, as Joe even pointed out, I had a direct line to the Flash. Before Barry, everybody kind of knew who Barry was. And so bringing in someone like Kramer to kind of embody what, to some extent, Singh was, but maybe in more of an active way on the show, as this tension where the police exist, but then the heroes exist. And then, you do want to have kind of that cooperation, but at the same time, the heroes do operate outside the law. And what does that look like? Even the notion of having some sort of direct line, I think, is interesting because that could set up this dynamic between Kramer and the Flash. Maybe even have Barry, I was kind of hoping and thought they might go with, return to the blurred face thing that he was doing in season 1 whenever he was around Iris, so that no one could actually ever see his face. And then they didn't go that route. They didn't go that route at all.
No, I think...
not only did they not go... I'm sorry, I just got to say this. Not only did they not go that route, but Kramer presents a really good argument for wanting there to be a direct line to the Flash. Okay? But then they flip it on the back half where it was yeah, actually, I just want him to teach me how to use my powers. And I'm no, not again. Because that's the thing. We've seen that time and time again. Somebody shows up, they get powers, Barry's here to train them. He kind of botches the job. It works out until Twitter cancels you. My point is that we've seen this happen over and over and over and over again. So I was hoping that we'd actually get kind of like a classic approach to kind of Flash and other characters on the show where not everybody has to know his secret identity. I mean, like even at the end when he's like, hey there, you want to know my secret identity? I did actually love the fact that she's like, I know it's you, Alan. But I wish she had just said like, that costume does nothing for your face. I was literally just looking at you. You have the exact same voice. Like I thought she was going to take him to town for not doing a better job of covering up his identity. And that would have at least been a little bit funny as a way to transition to like her knowing. But anyways, that's where I feel like they really dropped the ball. But what are your thoughts, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, like I think I don't know. So like the training thing I think would be cool. I think it would be neat if they waited for the reveal of the identity towards the end of the season or towards the end of Kramer's arc. And they did do like what you're talking about with the face whatever blurring that he would do, because I mean he unmasked himself in her office presumably during work hours.
Hey there. Yeah.
You know, like hopefully no one was looking through the window. I mean, but because whatever, you know, they want to do Kramer stuff. That's cool. That's fine. They want to transition Barry more into like a mentor instead of a mentee, to, you know, illustrate the leveling up aspect, you know, that they keep reiterating. That's fine, whatever. But I think it would have been better to have a, you know, more of a Flash and Kramer as opposed to Barry and Kramer and like her knowing. And I think the humor would have been driven home a lot more towards the end where she's been like, Barry, I've known it's you all along.
Exactly. Like that could be a payoff, and you don't even have to make it last an entire season. But I mean, like you could stretch that out a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, just Kramer's story arc. Like I don't think her story arc is going to be the whole season. I think, you know, I think they're going to get her in a spot where she's good and she can control her powers, and then we can continue to do whatever. I don't feel like this Kramer thing is going to be a huge, tremendous storyline. She'll come in here and there for various things, and the training aspect will be, you know, several episodes of that. But like, I mean, surely they're not going to have a season long training montage. Kramer.
I think it's an unfortunate choice that this series has made overall. With like every single character has to have some sort of meta ability, and that meta ability tends to correspond as kind of like a Deus Ex Machina type situation that kind of help the end of the season, and then after that it's like this thing they're stuck with. It almost becomes like a barrier for that character, because now they're so powerful that if they're going to have a story, it kind of needs to be weighted equal to your main character, and it just becomes a convoluted mess. I think there was a goal early on in this series to not be Smallville, and so the show kind of was to some extent the anti-Smallville, and I think in some ways that was a good decision, and in other ways that was a really bad decision, and I think this was definitely one of those ways in which it was, you know, it has not been helpful, and it's kind of yielded some storylines that are not the most enjoyable, just to be frank. And so I was excited for where they were beginning this relationship between Kramer and the Flash, and I was really hopeful for where that was going to go. But to see them just kind of retread past storylines makes me far less interested. And so yeah, it's just an unfortunate thing. You know, it doesn't ruin the series or ruin the episode or anything like that. I just really started this episode really excited, and then was a little bit like, oh, okay, well, you know. Thought we were getting something special, but maybe not.
Yeah, because I mean, it would have been interesting to see the same kind of relationship that Flash had with the police, you know, early in his career, here with this more leveled up, you know, powerful Flash, and to see the differences, right, and to juxtapose that between his early years and his, you know, seasoned veteran years, right? Like that would have been a cool sort of you know, exploration there. But yeah, and instead they just did the thing that Barry does to everybody, and even villains, and tells him his identity. And
right. It's right, exactly. Yeah. That's true. I mean, like it could be like, you want to know my secret identity? Just walk through the prison cell. Everybody knows. So they talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Speaking about relationships, man, love is in the air. Oh yeah, and I'm not talking about that hot love. I'm talking about that cold love, the kind of love that'll freeze you, that'll kill you. I'm talking about that chilling love, the bane of my existence. All right, sorry.
No, keep going.
No, I think I ran out. I think I'm done. Caitlin, she's dating Dr. Ficus. All right, so is Dr. Ficus? I think I did a brief look, but is that somebody from the comics?
Oh, I have no idea.
It's a great name. Dr. Ficus should be some like that could be.
Was that his nickname or was that his actual name?
I see. I can't.
Ficus?
It was Marcus, but I can't remember if that was just something they were kind of referring to him as. I think that was something they were referring to him as. But I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, that's a great name. Give him now. See, he should have gotten a superpower that should have been controlling plants.
Yeah, right. Like, why not?
Yeah. Exactly. Anyway, point is that
maybe he's like Poison Ivy's male counterpart.
Exactly. They kind of did the gender bend on Mr. Freeze or on Mr. Freeze. Maybe they could do the same thing with Poison Ivy, and it's Dr. Ficus. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Or maybe he's somebody connected to Swamp Thing, or maybe he's just an original character. But regardless, he is the new love interest for Katie, who is hitting up the dating world. Just so happens to do a double date situation with Killer Frost and Chillblaine. And man, there was some airing of grievances between the two sisters that were once one. Clearly she has issues with Chillblaine. Clearly she has issues with Killer Frost, but mostly she's just being very protective of Killer Frost, and rightfully so. Chillblaine, as was pointed out, is a murderer, and so it's kind of like, why? I mean, I know that we typically there seems to be kind of like a, murdering is okay if you have cold powers and know Barry's identity or something, but I don't know. I thought they kind of brushed that under the rug a little bit too quickly. But what are your thoughts, Bell?
Honestly, I forgot that he murdered people. I thought it was one of those classic TV kind of things where like, oh no, they're not dead. Like they did in G.I. Joe, where like a helicopter would explode and parachutes would come out, that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah. That's bad. He murdered people.
yeah. Murder is bad. Very good. Good job, Bell.
Like, it's one of those things where, okay, had he done some bank robberies and stuff like that, and he was in Iron Heights for that, and then he came out and he helped the city like he did and got exonerated. Okay, that's one thing. But like, murder is one of those where it's like, I don't know if you can really just, exonerate. None of them were in self-defense. Like, you can't even argue it, right? Like, he just straight up cold-blooded murdered people.
It's comic book logic. He's got superpowers, so they don't operate on us normie rules. Like,
I guess, yeah. When you're dealing with gods, I mean, like, what are you supposed to do?
I will say though, that's the thing. Like, I don't, that little side bit, headcanon, whatever you need to make happen there. But regardless, I really do ship them, man. I like the Chillblaine and Killer Frost relationship dynamic. And I really loved the, that kind of step sibling, or not step sibling, but like, what am I thinking of? It's in-laws, like that in-laws feel that you got when Caitlin and Chillblaine were chilling. Like, I know that they're just dating and everything, but you did get kind of that tension that could sometimes exist between like brother and sister-in-laws. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Because it's like, okay, we both love the same person. You have this romantic love. I've got this family love, and like, there's a tension that exists in terms of like loyalty with that person as well, where it's like, okay, well, I mean, yeah, okay, so they're your spouse, they're your partner, whatever it may be. But like, I was kids with them. We went through some stuff as kids. Like, there's a attachment that you feel entitled to sometimes, that regardless of how you feel, they have made these romantic decisions with this other person. And I don't know, I felt that tension was very well displayed in the back and forth that Caitlin and Chillblaine had. And I also really liked that Chillblaine, at the end of the day, he's not necessarily a thief, but he's kind of like, a swindler, a little bit. Like, he sticks her with the check at the end of the day.
Yeah, he's a rogue in the sense of like
a rogue. Yes.
Yeah, not in the sense of like the Flash Rogues Gallery kind of thing, but like a rogue is in like
classic.
A dashing, in the medieval fantasy kind of like sense.
Right.
Fantastical. That's the word I was trying to use.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah, definitely. He's very charming. And very roguish.
He is, man. I think it works really really well. I like their relationship. I like kind of all of those relationships. Do you think we'll see Marcus again, or did he just kind of exist for to give an excuse for this storyline?
No, I mean I think he's here because he was in Armageddon and stuff, and he works with the DEO or whatever, doesn't he?
I'll just say, uh-oh.
Yeah, so I think he's going to be around for a bit.
Uh-oh.
Why?
Because significant others that we don't really know all that well coming in with some of our OG characters. You know what that means?
They're probably going to die.
Or well, no, I think they're going to live, but I think that means that sometime in the next, I don't know, maybe a year, who knows when, Caitlin will be like, oh, I got this great job in Gotham. And Marcus and I are going to go off. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they're going to go work for Argus. That's what's going to happen.
I feel like significant others that are kind of tagged onto the show sometimes become retirement plans for these people. You know what I mean? For these characters, rather. So
yeah, well, I don't know. Losing, it would depend. It would depend if they want to, reduce the characters, or if Danielle Panabaker is like, I want to go somewhere else, because it could be an opportunity for them to focus on either Caitlin or Snow.
That's true. I mean, the reality can you lose Caitlin but keep Killer Frost? Is that something that you want? Which, by the way, loved on Chester's live stream when people were like just representing Twitter of dogging on Caitlyn and being like, Killer Frost is way cooler. Which A, not cool. Caitlyn is a great character. But B, Killer Frost is a lot cooler. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. But this is a great, opportunity here, because we didn't have to say Caitlyn was also in this episode, because she actually was in this episode.
She was in this episode. That's exactly right.
Yeah, so that was new and interesting and exciting.
It was a good, decent human arc, and I really liked that. Especially this. That's why our human characters can be so important to this series. Like having those human arcs, and that's probably for all of my, statements and soapboxing about the way in which they did the Killer Frost storyline. I will say one of the benefits is that has given us a human character on a show that desperately needs more human characters. And so, yeah, loved it. Thought it was a great little storyline for him. We did have Chester and Allegra, kind of, a little bit of a continuation of that will they, won't they. Some might say, who cares? I say, I ship it. It's fine. We'll see what happens. Love that they have a little Twitch stream that they're doing together. I think theirs is probably a little bit more popular than ours, Belle.
Yeah, probably. I mean, did you see that chat? That was pretty crazy.
That was blowing up. Yeah, they were doing great.
Yeah.
I did have a question of are they in Star Labs? Can he do a Twitch stream from Star Labs? Isn't that a major liability?
Yes, but he is. So, what are you gonna do?
Interesting. Is it public knowledge that the Flash operates out of Star Labs?
No, it's public knowledge that Barry Allen owns it, though.
Yeah, it's still so weird. But yes, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. It just seems like it's just you can just see him playing Fortnite, and all of a sudden, the Flash runs into the background, or that time that we were doing that thing for the CW, and then all of a sudden Grant Gustin popped on the screen for 2 seconds, and then walked away. Were you there for that? I can't remember.
No, I don't think I was there for that one.
Oh, yeah, this is years ago. This was during the glory days of the Flash and Flash TV talk. We were asked to be part of something for the CW where I think we were interviewing the costume designer. And
yeah, I was on that one.
Yeah, I think
did Grant pop in?
For a brief second, he just looked over the camera and waved and then walked away, and everybody was freaking out. And they ended up using that clip because they did a promotion for whatever that series was. And so, yeah, man, we were on CW commercials.
We were on TV briefly, for a split second.
Barely that, yeah.
Yeah, our
glory days. Anyway,
but I don't know. That was fun. That was cool.
It was. No, I enjoyed it a lot, and it was very very cool.
Was that the one? Who was it who was saying "back to you, Tiffany"?
Oh, that was Glosson from.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
From Starkville Labs. But anyway, yeah, man. So so lots of stuff happening in Central City. Like I said, it is kind of a return to kind of classic Flash, and we love to see that. Even and if not especially with all the cringy, cheesy campiness that comes along with Goldface. And so
I love Goldface. He's the best. Do not disparage this man. His relationship with Amunet is beautiful.
Amunet, that
powerful.
was her name.
Yes.
And
I wonder if Katie Sackholm's going to be coming back to play Amunet since we have Goldface.
It's I mean, and we get the Queen of Cringe. Like that's the thing. They are like the cringiest couple in the history of television couples.
And it's beautiful. And he's well read. I mean, come on.
He controls. He's got the power of gold, Bell.
I love gold.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, man, that's what's going down in Central City this week. But man, there are some things on the horizon, as we saw at the end of this episode, that definitely warrant some speedster speculation. So we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with Iris. Stay with us. And we're back. All right, man. Speedster speculation. Iris. As we mentioned last week, there's something going on with Iris. There's been something going on with Iris for some time. Now, this week and last week's episodes are part of this interlude in between the main event and what kind of the primary story or the primary graphic novel, if you will, for this season is about to be. Now, given that we have had these kind of little teases at the end of these episodes, and even like during the event, they kind of, tossed it up like, oh yeah, is that still a thing? And she's like, yep, still a thing, dealing with the still force and trying to work it out. Like, cool, let's not talk about it for a couple of weeks. Well, it's time, man. It's time as we kind of look ahead to the future to talk about and speculate what's really going on with Iris. We thought perhaps, I think I kind of proposed the notion that everything she touches some things she touches are getting stuck in that moment in time. But that does not necessarily seem to be the case. What we saw in this episode, she jumps ahead to a point in time. And what's interesting about that is that it's not just that like she disappeared and then reappeared in the future, because Jo is acting like she's been there this entire time, that she's actually interacted with the world, that she's talked with him. And so there is a her that is experiencing this, that she is just almost like mentally or consciously jumping through time. I don't know. What's kind of some observations you have about this reveal?
So it seems like Iris isn't being pushed through time, but time is being pushed through Iris. To quote Endgame, they need a time-space GPS. Basically, I'm just saying they need Tony Stark to come in there and help figure this out.
No.
But seriously though, like you said, Jo was acting as if he had been interacting with her, but she was not. So like she's being pushed forward. Like it's almost as if there's like branching timelines and she's jumping in between them. Like I thought maybe it might have been something where she jumped into an alternate timeline or whatnot, without context of where she was from her other timeline. And I was almost convinced about that because, Jo came home with a box and I was like, is Jo not retired? What is going on here? And the table was cleared. Right. But Jo said that's just a food coma. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, they've eaten dinner, they've cleaned the table, they've talking, and then he went out to the garage to go get the things. So it seems more like she's being pushed forward from the past into the future. And whatever that interim Iris is, that's the question that we don't know, right? Like, where does this interim Iris go? Instead of Iris jumping through multiple timelines, are multiple timelines jumping through Iris kind of, right? So like the Iris from dinner, there are two Irises at that point. There's the Iris that stays in the timeline as normal, and there's the Iris that gets pushed forward. So Irises are being pushed through Irises. So like the past Iris gets pushed into the future Iris, and then the interim Iris no longer exists, and it's been replaced by past Iris. So she's jumping around in time and jumping through points in time through herself.
Interesting theory.
Does that make any sense at all?
It clearly does to you, and that's what's important.
Okay, so you have Iris A, right? Iris A is the Iris that we saw at the dinner. and then Iris A splits at some point and becomes Iris B. And Iris B talks to her dad, cleans off the table, tells him about the case. He goes out and gets it, and then Iris A pops back into Iris B, and now Iris B is gone.
No, I get that.
And we're
that's Flashcraft rules, man. That's Flashcraft rule.
yeah. So yeah, what I'm curious about though, are we going to see like multiple irises pop up at some point?
I think no. So here's my thought. I mean, like that's an interesting theory. I think that's probably a little too convoluted. I know that's ridiculous to say because it's the Flash and
right.
It's all convoluted, but I'm more of a mindset that it's more of a mental jumping through time. We haven't seen her do it to the past yet, so it may be that she's literally losing time, that she's mentally jumping to the future, like our present conscious is. But I like what you said about the pushing, like time being pushed through her. I do think that she has the ability to do the same thing. That's what happened with the fork and the comb, right? Like she touched it, and then perhaps theoretically it jumped into a different part of time. Or
there's a subtle difference, right? So there's a subtle difference. There's the comb had the particles around it, right? The fork did not. And then Iris's eyes had the particles around it. So I don't know the significance of that, if there is one. Maybe they just didn't put the particles on the fork. But that is interesting.
Yes.
And it is something to think about.
Yeah.
Because with Iris having the particles out of her eyes, it would seem to indicate that she is either unconsciously controlling it or the source of the anomalies, right?
It's possible that, I don't even want to say it, but it's possible that she's becoming the new Still Force.
Which would be weird because she's Barry's lightning rod.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of that. I thought it was kind of an interesting concept when perhaps she was going to become the avatar for the Speed Force. I thought that would have been cool. I think actually that would have been a lot cooler than having it be Barry's mom. Got 30 different Noahs on this show. Like that was ridiculous. But so I would have been cool with that. I'm not. Yeah, the Still Force would be kind of a weird move. I mean, they could go with that. I do think that we're obviously dealing with some sort of time sickness. And generally when you're dealing with a time sickness, that's going to potentially have connections with Bart. It could have to do with, becoming pregnant. We might actually see her kind of like go through pregnancy very quickly. You know what I mean? Like maybe in the course of one episode, she's all of a sudden pregnant, and then like all of a sudden, months pass by in the matter of moments, and then they're just holding the twins, So
could this be just an avenue to kind of speed the speed time forward, like out? Because like pretty much the Flash, excuse me, pretty much the Flash has been in the same, like, every season starts and they're like, wow, the last 6 months was pretty quiet, not a lot of bad guys, stuff like that. They've kind of, unless they clearly state they're jumping to 2049 or they're doing stuff like that.
Right.
It's been pretty much a continuous timeline. Like I wonder if maybe they are going to use this to push the timeline forward, like outside of 2022 and, have her be pregnant and have the twins in a season.
I think that's very possible. I mean, I would, my money is on this having something to do with the twins. And it's also possible that we could see that whatever the time sickness is, like it literally gets passed to the twins, or maybe even Bart specifically. Like we could, and I mean, like maybe that yields us a Bart who is all of a sudden, instead of Impulse, all of a sudden the Flash. And has more of like a Flash-esque costume as opposed to kind of the silvery one. So I don't know. One way or the other, my guess is it has something to do with the twins. I think that it may very specifically have something to do with pregnancy. I would not be surprised if we see a situation where the pregnancy, as we see on a lot of like television shows, especially dealing in like superpowers or magic, it's like, oh, a character's pregnant and then there's a baby and now that baby's an adult human. Like it happens very quick.
Yeah.
So,
well, with the exception of, Iris's sister, who is still a baby that we've never seen.
Oh yeah, well, or they disappear. That's exactly right.
You know, yeah, or they disappear. Yeah, yeah. They go upstairs and you never see them again, which is exactly what happened to poor little Iris's sister.
Yeah,
except for at least they didn't give it the full Brady Bunch treatment, and Joe at least checked on her to go see that she was still asleep. And so it's slightly different, but it's still the same thing.
It's yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, but we want to hear your speculation. Head over to Twitter and let us know. Of course, you can follow the show at Flash TV, or you can let us know at TV Talk FM is the place to do it. As we mentioned at the top of the show, we are doing these live now that you can join us on the YouTube channel. You can find the link to the TV Talk YouTube channel at tvtalk.fm. That's the place to do it. You got all those social medias and all that kind of good stuff you can find us at, but of course, you want to follow Bell at Ring That Bell on Twitter, and that's going to do it for us for this week. Until next time. We'll be back in a flash. Sorry, I know I did a different kind of wrap up, but
yeah, that's fine.
I was trying to
and scene.
All right, save your audio real quick. We're still live.
Okay, exporting audio.
Save project as
Flash TV Talk Season 8. Where is it? Come here.
8's Goldface.
Goldface. 807, right?
Yes.
Because the last one was 6. This one has to be 7. Save.
Episode 7 of Season 8. That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. Exporting stuff. All right.
Okay. Do you want to? It is up to you. If you want to still be the Flash for the thing, that's cool. Or if you want to change, you can do that as well. Because we're about to do this next part that we're going to record really quick is going to be for this week's video.
Oh yeah. Let me.
Which, by the way, we totally just aged up a lot of my copper, so that was good.
Oh, that's good. So let's see here. Do I want to be Batman, Rorschach, Gandalf, Dr. Manhattan?
Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Oh well.
Maybe should have done what?
Nothing. Well, you could be Belshak since we got to talk about Dr. Alien.
That's true.
We don't talk about Dr. Except we do talk about Dr. Alien. All right, I am actually going to turn the live stream off because this next part's going to be for this week's video. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And until next time.